Have you looked at this? Have you looked at the confirmation hearings at all, Carrie?
No, I haven't. I have a feeling it's going to be a repeat of the Kavanaugh things, which, as you know, we had just started the podcast. Actually, we hadn't even
Barely.
started it. You interviewed me on Unsafe Space, and that's when the Kavanaugh stuff was happening, and I was
Yep.
going through probably the second of my largest round of unfriendings because I was still heavily in the social justice echo chamber at that time in terms of who all of my friends were. I had built, it took a while to build that kind of echo chamber. So, of course, it took a while to get out of it. And a lot of that happened organically because social justice friends started unfriending me. Um, the Kavanaugh thing is something that really helped to solidify my growing opinion that my side was becoming unreasonable and almost like a cult and very religious like in the way that they behaved with a complete disregard for truth and a willingness to do whatever it took to this belief that the ends justify the means, which disgusted me.
Yep.
And you know my opinions on that. I was livid that they were completely throwing the presumption of innocence out the window just to score politically. They didn't care what they did to that man and his family. It made
Nope.
me so angry. And so I kind of have been thinking, well, we're going to be seeing a repeat of that. It's going to be a little harder for them this time because it's a woman, but as we know, they don't mind being hypocrites. They can tell you one thing out of one side of their mouth, which is believe all women, and respect women. And if you're a man, you can't disagree with a woman because it's mansplaining or man-interrupting, as the UN is now pushing. They're trying to make man-interrupting a
Oh,
word.
man-interrupting's a thing.
Um,
Let me interrupt you to
it's
explain that.
not a thing, but the UN is trying to make it a thing. The UN is trying to introduce this new Orwellian newspeak, and they're always creating new words that denigrate entire groups of people on the basis of race and sex. It's no different than the word mansplaining and in how they are going to try and use that word. But they can tell you all these things about shut up and listen to black people and believe all women, and then they're lying. They don't even believe the things they're telling you, and you can see it in their behavior because the second a black person comes along who doesn't agree with woke ideology, or a woman comes along who they don't like, they throw all that out the window and they engage in all the things they've told you you can't do.
Well, you got to
Suddenly, you're
understand
an
they don't.
individual now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they don't. Words don't have meanings for them. I mean, we actually saw this a little bit in our debate with Justin, where it was like, "Well, words are just kind of arbitrary and disconnected from reality, and we can say whatever." It's like, okay, well, I mean, if that's your stance, you don't even have to feel bad about using words for however you want. Words are just tools of manipulation to get people to change their behavior for these people. They don't care. They don't care.
Yes. Look at how people use word. Think about what is a word. Language is a tool. Okay, so when used, I think to its best outcome, language is a tool for helping people to understand one another better and to arrive at compromise and understanding. And so when you're having a conversation, you should be trying to make sure that you articulate yourself as clearly as possible. This is also one reason. There's a lot of reasons I don't like to use sarcasm very much, as you know. Try to
I like
articulate
sarcasm,
yourself.
but that's okay.
Yeah, but trying to articulate yourself very clearly and carefully so the other person can understand what you mean. And then if you're listening to someone, you should be trying to understand them and asking questions and sort of restating to them, is this what you mean? Is this what you're saying? To make sure you understand it and that you're not engaging in straw manning where you put words in their mouth or ideas in their head that they don't hold and haven't said and then attack those things. That's BS. Like, you should make sure you try and understand them even if you disagree. That's I think the proper use of language as a tool.
Well, I mean,
Ideologues
can I just
use
pause there for
it.
a second?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
functionally, just cognitively, language is just a tool of identification. It's just this thing in objective reality exists, we identify it. That's what it is. It's an identification of
Right.
reality. And if you suspend the concept of an objective reality because you're, let's say, a fan of Derrida or you're a postmodernist who doesn't believe in objective reality, then you've disconnected language from its use. Like the reason that it's
Yeah.
communicable, the reason we can communicate with language, the reason that it's a tool for communication, is because we have a common basis called reality that we are communicating about.
Yes.
And I'm saying, I saw a black cat walk across the street. That means something to you. You can put those concretes in your head and go, oh, I understand what a black cat is and what a street is and what walking across is. And the fact that he saw it, like, he's communicating information about reality to me.
I'm going to interrupt you. What the postmodernists do is they try to remove all agreement and truth from words. They say there is no objective truth, and they try and they use words and language as a tool, but as a tool for making everything more confusing. And so they're doing the opposite. They're not trying to use it for understanding and coming to compromise. They're trying to use it so that you can't reach any point of understanding. And ideologues, I would say those are the postmodernists, but the Marxist ideologues, the ones who lean more to the Marxist side of this woke ideology, they use words as a tool, but the tool is for it's more of a weapon, like you said. It's a tool to shut down. Yeah, it's for manipulation of truth, manipulation, and it's for fear. They use words to try and keep you from being able to have conversation. So they will say things like, instead of trying to articulate their ideas and provide evidence and argumentation, they will say, here's one of their magic word phrases. They will say, it's emotional labor. I'm not going to do that. So that, boom, shut everything down. Or they'll say, it's not my job to educate you. Boom, shut everything down. Or they will say, your opinion is simply XYZ. Like, it is simply white-splaining, mansplaining, whatever. And then boom, shut everything down. If you look, almost all of what we call their magic words, SJW magic words, are tools to shut down communication and understanding so that the conversation can go nowhere.
Well, and they have to do that, right? They have to do that because, and when they employ that tool, because you're going into the conversation assuming that words correspond to some reality. You catch them in some contradiction. Hey, you said believe all women, but she's a woman, and like whatever. You think that you're coming in naive, right? Oh, I don't, you said this, but this is contradictory. When they get caught, they need to sidestep the conversation. They need to get out of this trap. Like, they've set this trap for themselves because they're using language totally disconnected from its meaning. They don't care. So as soon as you catch them in that, they just need they need to throw out a magic word to sidestep it and be like, lived experience, bye.
It's like a smoke bomb. It's like Batman throwing a smoke bomb and then
it's like boom, exactly, a smoke bomb and you're gone, you're off.
That's your toxic masculinity. Boom. Yeah. Did it work? Did it work?
I've disappeared.
You're a racist. Boom. Did it work?
Yes.
No. Don't. Yeah, and it only works if you believe in their magic. Don't believe in their magic. Their magic is BS.
Right. Because actually, it's not real smoke. They're just going smoke.
Yeah. Yeah. Smoke. Look at the smoke. I'm like, yeah, there's no smoke there. Yeah, you're just using words to try and you're actually defending your argument or offering any explanation, or you're just throwing an insult.
It's the intellectual equivalent of, my God, what's that? It's like, okay, I'm not gonna look, dude. Thank you.
One thing I was thinking about, and I was talking about after we did that interview with Justin, which if you guys haven't seen it, we got to interview Justin. I'm blanking on his last name, but he goes by Justin Gibson. And on Twitter, he's SJW Debates. And I really appreciate that he sat down with us. And as we discovered in talking with him, see, social justice ideology is like this weird marriage between postmodernism and Marxism. Justin seems to us to lean more towards the postmodernist side, which is interesting because I think that makes him at least – I think the ones who lean more towards the postmodernist side are at least more open to debate and discussion, first of all. But you find that it's hard to pin them down on things because they don't believe there's any objective truth and what do words mean. They mean nothing. So someone in the chat had a good question for him. I think it was Christ, however you say that.
Christ.
He had a question. And he said, what is a woman? Who's a woman? And Justin said, anyone who identifies as a woman. And then I said, well, who's black? And he said, well, yeah, anyone who identifies as black. So like Rachel Dolezal? Yeah. At least he's consistent there, right?
Right. But that's his postmodernism showing, not his critical race theory.
That's postmodernism. And that's where you get to where you can see that words have no meaning because, like you're saying, Carter, we can all look at a cat. We've all agreed that we're calling this creature a cat. If you're saying that a cat is anything that identifies as a cat, or that I identify as a cat, then we can never have a conversation, because it's like I could be well, a dog is a cat to me. A dog's a cat. I'm going to call a dog a cat.
My
Well,
lived
now what?
experience is that I'm a cat.
Yeah,
Right,
there's
yeah.
no basis in reality anymore, and words become on the postmodernist side of social justice ideology. Words just become meaningless,
Right.
and in which case, why are you even talking?
Well, that's why
Like,
postmodernists are more likely to have a debate, because there's nothing to fear from a debate, because words are meaningless.
yeah,
So we're just gonna speak some sounds at each other. None of them mean anything. Who cares? The end. Right. Whereas a Marxist is like, no, no, no. Like, I need the revolution. I like, and ideas are very dangerous to me. A Marxist has got that Stalinist idea of, what was the quote from Stalin? We don't let our enemies have guns. Why would we let them have ideas?
yeah,
Like,
that's the Stalin quote.
right?
Yeah,
Like, that's ideas are very, very scary. But to a postmodernist, ideas don't really matter, because they're just words, and words are irrelevant, and they're a construct. So who cares?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. The ones who, most of the SJWs I've known lean more on the Marxism side,
Yes, me
but
too.
and they use postmodernism sparingly to weasel out of things, but they are more on the Marxist side. And it was interesting to talk to someone who leans more to the postmodernist side of it. So
Yeah. No, that was interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I this when we talked about the Amy Coney Barrett thing. I watched a little bit of the confirmation hearings this morning. I'm sorry that I did, but like, one of the Democrats was like, he said, he called originalism, right, which is the interpreting the Constitution strictly, right? He called originalism a smokescreen and a form of judicial activism. And
wait, he
yeah,
called what?
originalism, like
Okay,
like interpreting the Constitution or law as it was originally intended, like trying to be strict about
right.
the interpretation, which is aligned with her judicial philosophy. He called it a smokescreen for judicial activism, and just
Which is the opposite. That's
right. That's what
what
I was
they do.
thinking. I was like, oh, so this is completely projection. Like,
It's total
you guys
projection,
are
yeah.
totally about judicial activism. Like, this is
Because
100% projection.
what's the opposite of originalism? It's saying, oh no, it can be changed and interpreted however you want. That's judicial activism.
Right. Yes. Yeah. It's like, I was like, I can't believe he's saying this with a straight face on national television, and everyone's like, like, what insanity are we living in? Like that. He literally. It's like he just said, well, the definition of hot is cold. And everyone,
Yeah,
all the people in suits and the talking heads are like, yes, very, very good point. It's crazy. It's crazy, the insanity.